Hey everyone, this is the beginner's guide to the clarinet. Go Bulls! What we're going to learn in this video is how to put it together, how to hold it, how to make an embouchure, play the first side notes, take it apart, and care for it. And the first thing you need to know about the clarinet is that it comes in 5 pieces, not 1. The first piece is the bell, goes on the bottom. The second piece, the bottom joint with the thumb rest, is where your right hand goes. Third piece, the upper joint, is where your left hand goes. And the fourth piece is the barrel, just a little short thing right here. And the fifth is the mouthpiece, where your mouth goes. And this little thing on metal thing on it is the ligature. Drop my cap there. Now, how to put this together. When you're putting parts of the instrument together, you don't want to just push them into each other. That damages the cork here. What you want to do is you want to grip it where the keys are not going to be bent, so on the holes, and you're going to want to carefully twist it into place, like so. And to take it apart, you just carefully twist it out of place. Now, putting it together, you want to put it together bell first from the bottom to the top. So, first the bell, and then the upper and lower joint. Now this one's special because this key right here must line up with this key right here. That's called the bridge key, these two keys. So when you're putting this one together, you want to press the keys of the upper joint down so that this key goes upwards. So you're not bending the bridge keys when you're putting them together. And you want to put it together so that the bridge key lines up. Let's see if I can get a good angle on that. Whoop, there it is. So that the bridge key lines up, and when you press the keys down, the bridge goes up. And now, the barrel goes on top, the big end on the bottom, just like so. And the mouthpiece caps it off. Now you want the mouthpiece, ideally, to line up the center of the mouthpiece. You want it to line up with the middle of your register key, this long one right here on the back of the instrument. So you take a bit of time to line it up. And once you've done that, you have the whole instrument together and ready to play. Now how you hold this is, as I mentioned before, you want the right hand and the thumb to rest on the thumb rest here. Now you want to hold it in a natural curved C with your thumb resting on the thumb rest and your fingers curved over 1, 2, 3 right here, and your pinky resting on top of these 4 keys right here. This pinky controls all 4 keys. Now you want your fingers to hover just above the keys and not stick out entirely and not pressing them down. Your left hand, your left thumb, goes on this key hole right here. This left thumb controls both this hole and the register key, this big one. And then your left hand goes 1, 2, 3 over the holes like so. And this pinky controls all 4 of these keys. Now we want to have a curved, graceful hand. We don't want it to claw. We don't want it to be too stiff and stretch it out. And we want the little fatty tips of the fingers to go directly over the tone holes. And then we don't want, when we play, our fingers to stick out, but we want them to just hover right above the keys. Now take this, put it aside, and let's talk reeds. Now, reeds in your typical Van Doren blue box will come in a case that looks just like this. I recommend for a beginner to use your Van Doren blue box 1.5. Now what the number means is how thick or how thin the reed is. The lower the number, the thinner the reed, and the easier it is to play. Now, to take this out of the case, you'll grab it and you'll carefully Just ease it out like so. What you want to watch out for is the tip. The tip is the most important part of the reed. If you chip or you crack this thing, you're going to want to replace the reed. Now, a dry reed does not play. So, to play the instrument, you must wet the reed, and ideally you would do this, Go Bulls, with room temperature water. You would soak the reed up to this point where the wood is exposed, both sides, as so, and then remove the excess moisture. But if you're in a pinch, you can also just stick it in like a lollipop, use your mouth. But whatever method you use, you want to make sure to wet both sides and then remove excess moisture. Now, to attach this onto the mouthpiece, we are going to take this, the barrel and the mouthpiece, off of the rest of the instrument. Set this instrument aside carefully. We're going to get out our ligature. The ligature is what attaches the reed to the mouthpiece. Ooh. Now what you want to do is you want to line the reed up with the top of the mouthpiece to where just the hair of the mouthpiece is showing over the reed. And you want to center the reed here in between the two rails of the mouthpiece. And if you've done that correctly, it looks a little something like this. Just the hair of the mouthpiece is visible above the reed. And now the reed is what's going to, not the reed, the ligature is what's going to hold that together. You're going to slide the ligature over top of the reed. Be careful of the tip. You don't want to crack that at all. And then there should be a line on your mouthpiece around right here that indicates where the top of your ligature is going to go. Now on your standard out of the box ligature is going to have 2 screws on it that you're going to want to put on the back of the mouthpiece. And now you're going to want to screw these in place. You don't want to make them too tight, but you want to make sure that the reed is held just firmly in place. But if it's too tight, it will not play, and if it's too loose, the reed's going to move around. Now that we have our reed in place, it's time to make an embouchure and make a buzz. Now an embouchure, what you want to do is you want to take your bottom lip and you're going to want to stretch it over your bottom teeth, just covering your bottom teeth. You don't want to push your lip too far in where it's like, I'm an old man. And you don't want to have it too far out where your teeth aren't being covered. And then you want to stretch the lip out, not too tight, but also not so that it's pouting or that your lip is fat in any way. So you want to stretch it out just enough to cover the top teeth and to thin out the lip, like so. And then what you want to do is you want to take the corners of your mouth and pull them down while making this in a frown. While you're doing that, you want to make sure that you're not pushing your chin up. If you're pushing your chin up or you're getting that wrinkly raspberry chin, you want to make sure you're pushing it back down and making a flat chin. Now you want to take this frown embouchure and apply it to the mouthpiece. Now, where your bottom lip goes on the mouthpiece, you want to hold your mouthpiece up to the light, and you should see a place around right here where the reed and the mouthpiece touch, and the light should shine through here. Now you want your bottom lip to go directly on that spot, and then you want your top teeth to go directly on the mouthpiece with no lip. Top teeth just below the tip of the mouthpiece, so about here, and then for the bottom lip about here. So let's make our embouchure again. Frown, pull your corners down, and you're going to want to set your mouthpiece, and then pull your corners of your mouth tight like a drawstring to cover all to cover all parts of the mouthpiece. Now the goal is to make sure that no air leaks out of the sides of your mouth as you play. It's a common problem that you'll run into, and that just how you fix that is you just keep practicing, you keep playing, and eventually you'll develop the muscles for it. Now, do it, take it off, take it off, get used to that motion, and get used to where exactly it's going to go and how that feels. Now that we have our face in place, it's time to mention the tongue. Now the tongue, when playing the clarinet, goes right on the tip of the reed. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to stick out your tongue. You're going to put it on the tip of your reed. Put it into your mouth. And then set your embouchure with your tongue still resting on the tip. Now your tongue should be resting on the tip, and it should be kind of curled up like this inside of your mouth. It shouldn't be from the top, and it shouldn't be straight on. It should be curled up a bit like this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make a buzz. Now how sound is produced on the instrument. Sound is produced by air vibrating the reed. What the purpose of the tongue is the tongue stops the air and stops the sound. The tongue does not make the sound. So we're going to engage our diaphragm muscles. So when you blow into the mouthpiece, you're going to want to feel this part of your chest right here pushing as you blow. Now what we're going to do is make sure your tongue is resting on the reed and blow, and nothing should come out yet. And then if you're pushing air properly and thoroughly, you're going to take your tongue off of the reed and sound should come out in a buzz. And when you've done that, you're going to put your tongue back on the reed, and that's going to cut off the vibration of the reed and stop the sound. So take it off. So start blowing, take it off, the sound starts, and then put the tongue back on, the sound stops. Now, when you're making multiple articulations in a row, you don't want to use individual breaths of air. You don't want to go, but you want to keep pushing one long stream of air throughout each articulation. The only thing that's making the sound stop is your tongue. So not, but one long stream of air. Now that we practice that, we're going to apply it to the instrument. Let me do this. Alright, so we're going to take our mouthpiece and our barrel. We're going to twist it back onto the instrument. Make sure your mouthpiece is lined up with your register key. Ooh, that's about right. And now, if we remember how to hold it, right hand on the bottom, thumb, 1, 2, 3, pinky. Left hand on this key, 1, 2, 3, pinky. Make it natural. Don't claw. Don't stick it over. Use the tips of your fingers on the tone holes. Now the first note you should learn is G on the staff. The reason why this is the first note you should learn is because it has no buttons at all. It's completely open. What you're going to do is you're going to use your thumb to support the instrument and have your fingers just hovering above the holes but not pressing them down. Watch out especially for your thumb, because that one's going to want to press down when you're first starting, but you want your left hand to just hover above all the holes without pressing anything. Now if you're not pressing anything and you make your embouchure, you set, and you do what we've done before, you should get your first note, a G. Yay, you did it! Hopefully, I can't tell. Now, your next note is an F. It's just one below a G on the staff. Now the fingering for an F is simply your left thumb covering this hole. You don't want to press this register key just yet. You just want to cover this hole. Now when you're covering this hole, you want to make sure it's covered completely. If your hole's not covered completely, you're going to get either nothing comes out or it's going to squeak real loud and it's going to sound great. Now if your hole's covered completely, you're not pressing anything else on the instrument except for this left thumb, you should get an F. G, F. And now E. It's just this first finger right here. The same drill as the F. Make sure your hole's covered entirely. F and this finger right here makes an E. Both of these. So it should go. And then down the line, the next note is D. It would be thumb, 1, and then 2. Same thing, cover all the holes. And then the last note we're going to learn is C below the staff. It is the same thing. You cover the thumb hole, 1, 2, and then add 3. This one right here with no key. Now, the more fingers you add, the trickier it is to make sure that you're covering all the holes completely, and the more likely you're going to be to get a squeak. So when you're first starting out, you're going to want to do this slowly. Make sure that A, you're pushing air solidly and properly. B, your embouchure is set tightly and isn't leaking out of the corners of your mouth. And C, your holes are covered completely. And if you don't do all of these things, you're most likely going to get a big squeak, which is why it's important to slow practice when you're starting out. But if you learn every note properly, yay! Now that we've learned that, we're going to learn how to take this instrument apart. What we're going to want to do, so we put the instrument together top to bottom. We're going to take it apart. Sorry, I said that wrong. Bottom to top. We're going to take it apart top to bottom. We're going to unscrew the ligature, remove the ligature, take the reed, be careful of the reed. Once again, we do not want to break the tip of the reed. We're going to wipe off any excess moisture. And we're going to carefully, using the bottom first, slide it back into its case like so. Now, an important thing is we're going to want to swab the instrument of moisture, water, spit every time after we play. And yes, it gets annoying, but the clarinet is just the instrument that requires the most care, really. It's got 5 pieces. It's got to be swapped after every time you play it, or it's gonna start getting gross. Trust me. So we're going to unscrew the mouthpiece. Make sure not to be bending any keys as you do this. Set the instrument aside. You're going to want to swab out this ring here. Take your swab, which you hopefully should have. Put this weight through the mouthpiece, like so, and pull the cloth through. And that's the mouthpiece done. Put the ligature on it, and put it back into the case. I do not recommend leaving your reed on the mouthpiece after you're done playing. That's a great recipe to make everything get real gross real fast. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to gently unscrew our barrel. Make sure you're pressing the keys where they won't bend. Now you see the inside of this barrel. We're going to want to swab both of these parts out individually. Put the weight through, and then pull your rag through, push it to get everything, pull it out. Barrel back in. Now, I should mention this. If you find that your cork is too hard to put on and to take off, you should apply cork grease to the instrument. It looks a little bit like chapstick. This is cork grease. Now, to apply cork grease, less is more. You're just going to want to apply a thin line across the cork, smear it with your finger, And that's it. If you find that you're getting grease residue on the rings of your instrument after you apply cork grease, you put way too much cork grease. So that's a good indicator to know how much you put. Now, to swab out the upper joint, simply put the weight through. Take it out the bottom. Pull the swab through and then swab out these outside rings because moisture will accumulate on them. Now, it's also possible that moisture will accumulate in your individual keys, which you can sometimes swab out or you can sometimes blow out. The bottom joint is the same drill. You're going to want to swab out this little ring here, this outside ring here. Put your weight through, pull it through, spin it around to get everything back in, and then for the bell, I'm going to swab out this little ring right here. And then take a rag, stick it in, get all this, put it back. And you're done. If you follow all this, you should have learned how to put it together, how to take it apart, how to play your first 5 notes. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Go Bulls.